Let's get back to the auto group because those U.S. automakers posted sizable gains in quality in the latest J.D. Power initial quality survey just out a few minutes ago. Greg Miles here now with the latest. Greg.
Yes, Carol, that's right. And the big question really is whether these gains are sustainable and whether they are enough to boost sales long-term for GM, Ford, and Chrysler. Now, with me to talk about that is Finn O'Neill, the president of J.D. Power, the company that authored this closely watched survey, all the way from Calabasas, California. Finn, welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Let's talk about this first. Domestic automakers posting a 10% gain in quality in the past year, striking faster than the industry as a whole. What's that telling us? How important?
What it tells us is that domestics are within striking distance of the imports. Their cars are substantially the same in terms of initial quality.
Now, are we talking about GM, Ford, and Chrysler all together, or which ones?
Well, I think Chrysler has a longer way to go. GM and Ford certainly have made great advances and are substantially equivalent, in my mind, in terms of initial quality.
Now, to put this in a little perspective, you've also got a 3-year study that shows that that the domestic automakers still have more work to do. Talk about that a bit to put it in perspective.
Well, first of all, initial quality is a good indicator of whether a company is going to have reliable and durable vehicles. Ford has done the best of the domestics in terms of durability. General Motors has made progress, and they're about industry average there. Chrysler still has a ways to go. But I'm confident that they will improve their durability based upon the trends we've seen over time. I think that'll be the case.
Finn, I'm sure the automakers, the U.S. automakers are pleased to see that their quality, that it's considered to be improving. But I'm curious if you think it's just too little too late at this point because they've lost so many consumers at this point.
No, I think they have time. Every new launch, though, is vital after this bankruptcy. It's vital for Chrysler. It's vital for GM. They have to demonstrate that each new car represents a superior value. It does take time for perception to be changed, but it can be changed. Witness how well Hyundai has done in this particular IQS. They are now the leading mass market brand in terms of initial quality, and quite some time ago people wouldn't have said that.
But it takes so little time to lose your reputation, but it takes years to bring it back. And I'm just thinking, can GM, can Ford, can Chrysler, can they really become leading auto players down the road here in your view?
Well, I think with regard to General Motors, they're focusing now on 4 brands. I think they have a great opportunity. Ford and Mercury both were above industry average in this survey. Chrysler has a longer way to go, and of course there are questions about whether Fiat can supply the car line that Chrysler needs to be competitive.
And Finn, as you know, Chrysler has the problem where actually it's been chronically in the lower quartile or near the bottom in terms of quality in your surveys, also in other surveys and Consumer Reports. Can they survive long-term if they're not able to get those numbers up?
For Chrysler in particular, they need to make progress, substantial progress. They did. They were up 11% above industry average. They just need to continue that march. And, of course, the new vehicles that they bring to the market, particularly on the car side, have to be exciting and generate some sales for them.
Is Toyota, the battle between Toyota and Hyundai, is that where the battle is now? And do you think Toyota can catch back up again to Hyundai?
You never underestimate Toyota. Toyota, of course, had a lot of segment winners, about 10, so they have some great vehicles. But it's not enough just to sit back anymore. The industry is improving substantially, and Toyota cannot rest on its laurels. Otherwise, companies like Hyundai will catch them.
Finn, that's a great point, and I'm just curious, in going through your survey, is there any automaker out there that you think investors, consumers, everybody should kind of watch very closely, that they're making great inroads, they're making a lot of progress?
There is one, actually, and it's Volkswagen. The new Volkswagen CC was a tremendous success on its launch, but globally they're making tremendous strides, both in terms of quality and sales. A very interesting brand for the future.
Well, and it's funny that you bring up Volkswagen because, as we've all watched kind of what's happened with the U.S. automakers over the last few months in particular, everybody's been asking, who's going to be the leading player? Do you think it's going to be Volkswagen globally?
Well, globally, I think longer term they'll be a player. Certainly Toyota is up there, and General Motors, very strong in China, and has a global platform. Ford will be there. Honda is iconic, but there is a question of maybe 6, 7 big players in the world. Volkswagen will be one of them. They certainly have targeted Toyota. They've said that publicly.
Finn, one thing striking about Toyota, even though they won, I think 10 of the 17 to 18 segment categories in this past year's survey, which is really quite striking, shows how dominant they still are. But the Toyota Camry and the Corolla and the Prius, 2 of their traditionally dominant vehicles, weren't even, I don't think, included in any of those awards in the first or second place. What do you say about that?
Well, Toyota as a brand was only up 3 points overall. And of course, when you mention Corolla and Camry, you're talking about nearly 600,000 sales. So that's a big challenge for them. Those mass market products, they need to improve. Their competitors are getting better all the time. Malibu, was ranked higher than the Camry.
Finn, let me just ask you, going through all this data, and there's a lot of data that comes out in this survey, what do you think was the biggest surprise for you when you got the results of this latest survey?
Actually, the continued improvement of the domestics was not a huge surprise, but it was a confidence builder for those who look to the future for the domestic industry. I think the biggest surprise was Hyundai.
Last thing, question, we got about 45 seconds. Who do you think is going to end up being the dominant quality player over the next 5 years when we end up with these surveys? Is it going to be Volkswagen? Is it going to be Hyundai? Or what's going to be in that group?
I think Ford has led the way with the domestics. I think Toyota obviously has made some changes in its management, and I think will be refocused on quality. Hyundai and Honda.
All right, good to know. Hey, Finn, thanks so much for carving out some time for us on this Monday. We appreciate it. Finn O'Neill, president of J.D. Power.